Imagine a city so wealthy, so powerful, that it could rival entire empires, hidden deep within the Amazon rainforest, shimmering with treasures beyond imagination. This is El Dorado, the fabled golden empire that captivated explorers, inspired legends, and ultimately became a story lost to time. But was this place ever real? And if so, why hasn't anyone ever found it? Today, we'll journey into the heart of one of history's most elusive mysteries, a tale of ambition, obsession, and a relentless quest for gold. Let's explore El Dorado, the lost city that drove explorers to madness and continues to haunt our imaginations.
The jungles of Colombia, South America. This is where the legend of El Dorado was born.
The origins of the legend. The legend of El Dorado first took shape in the early 16th century. Spanish conquistadors, fresh from conquering the Aztecs and the Incas, were captivated by tales of a kingdom awash in gold. Their new conquests had revealed treasures they hadn't believed possible, yet there was talk of a kingdom that dwarfed even the riches of the Inca Empire, a place hidden beyond the Andes, in the dense, unexplored Amazonian jungles. The tale originated from local tribes, who described a king, El Hombre Dorado, the Gilded Man, who performed an incredible ritual every morning. This king would coat his body in gold dust, turning himself into a golden figure. In a ceremonial act, he would then wade into a sacred lake, washing off the gold as an offering to the gods. This ritual became known as El Dorado, and to the Spanish, it seemed like proof of untold wealth. But over time, the story grew. To the Spanish, El Dorado wasn't just a king, it became a city, an empire rich beyond imagination. And it was only a matter of finding it. Driven by these visions of riches, adventurers set out to discover this lost city. But the journey wasn't easy. The dense jungle was uncharted, filled with diseases, treacherous animals, and unpredictable terrain. And yet, time after time, men risked it all to find this mysterious city. The first expeditions. One of the earliest and most ambitious attempts to locate El Dorado was led by Gonzalo Pizarro, the brother of Francisco Pizarro, conqueror of the Incan Empire. In 1541, he set out from Quito, Ecuador, with a large force, intent on locating this elusive city. Pizarro's expedition was well supplied and well staffed, including Spanish soldiers, indigenous guides, and enslaved people. But they would soon discover that the Amazon held dangers they had not anticipated. The heat was unbearable, the jungle so thick that progress was painfully slow, and they quickly found themselves facing near impossible obstacles. Disease and starvation began to take a toll. Mosquitoes carried malaria, snakes and jaguars lurked in the underbrush, and many of the native guides were either killed or fled. Days turned to weeks, then months. Supplies ran low, morale was shattered, and Pizarro's men began to realize that their golden dream might just be a deadly trap. Eventually, only a fraction of his force made it back to Quito, empty-handed and broken. The legend of El Dorado, however, continued to captivate new adventurers. But here's the twist. The tales of El Dorado only grew stronger after each failed expedition. Why would the myth continue if there was no truth to it? Let's look at what happened next. New expeditions and the rise of obsession. Despite repeated failures, rumors of El Dorado continued to circulate. Another well-known explorer, Sir Walter Raleigh, would set his sights on this golden city. Raleigh, a British nobleman, made 2 attempts in the late 16th century to find El Dorado, convinced that it lay somewhere along the Orinoco River in present-day Venezuela. His belief in the city's existence was unshakable, but his expeditions also faced the brutal challenges of the Amazon. He found no golden city, only hostile terrain and hostile natives. And yet, Raleigh's accounts only fueled the legend further. He described a place of unimaginable wealth, a city of gold just beyond his reach. Raleigh's tales captivated audiences back in England, who devoured the accounts of this mysterious jungle city, leading to an explosion of speculation and even more expeditions. While his journeys turned up no treasures, his stories helped to immortalize the idea of El Dorado. Could it be possible that he had been close, or was his failure the ultimate proof that El Dorado was just a myth? Despite Raleigh's unsuccessful quests, the idea of El Dorado being more than just a myth still lingers. Over the years, as modern explorers and archaeologists probed deeper into the Amazon, they uncovered traces of lost civilizations, cities, and ruins that hint at advanced societies that thrived long before the arrival of Europeans. The modern search: is there truth behind the myth? While no one has found the fabled golden city of El Dorado, recent discoveries have made some wonder if the legend was based on an ancient civilization that lived within the Amazon rainforest. In recent decades, researchers have uncovered evidence of large-scale civilizations that existed in the Amazon, societies capable of complex agriculture, engineering, and even city building. These finds are changing how we think about pre-Columbian South America. Take, for example, the lost city of Tayuna in Colombia, an ancient city believed to have been built by the Tairona people over 1,000 years ago. Tayuna is a network of terraces, pathways, and structures that reflect an advanced and highly organized society. While Tayuna may not be El Dorado, it stands as evidence that complex civilizations existed in the Amazon, and perhaps the legend of El Dorado was inspired by one of these ancient cities. But what if the idea of a city of gold was never about physical riches? Could it have represented a spiritual or cultural wealth rather than actual treasure? Or perhaps a civilization intentionally shrouded in mystery? Did El Dorado exist? Some historians argue that El Dorado was never a single city, but rather a series of interconnected societies throughout the Amazon, each contributing to the myth. According to this theory, the Spanish misunderstood local customs and exaggerated their stories, leading to a myth that took on a life of its own. The Gilded Man's golden ritual may have been symbolic, an offering to the gods that the Spanish twisted into something literal. If that's the case, then El Dorado may have existed, not as a place, but as an idea. Perhaps it was a cultural belief about prosperity, about respecting nature and honoring the sacred. Or maybe, just maybe, the Golden Kingdom remains hidden, guarded by the jungle, protected by time. So, was El Dorado a tangible city of gold? Or a complex cultural idea misunderstood by European invaders? Was it an ancient civilization lost to time, or a warning hidden within a story? Perhaps the truth lies somewhere in between, waiting to be uncovered. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the mystery of El Dorado. If you found this story intriguing, then you'll definitely want to hear about the Garamantes civilization. Click the link on your screen, and let's continue exploring the lost worlds of history.